This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're going to be talking to Anita Meyer this hour. And Anita is an author, lecturer, and independent researcher that has positively influenced hundreds of thousands of people. Anita attended college for criminology. Through her many studies, she is also a linguistic decipherment expert in ancient writings in the fields of ornithology, paleontology, and graphology, and is a cryptozoology wizard. Among other skills and abilities, she is also a visual pattern recognizer in the study of nature and structure. Off the beaten path, Anita is a forensic religious procurement specialist who thoroughly engages in finding strong evidence for God's existence. Joining me now is Anita Meyer. And Anita, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what it was that inspired you to write your book, Beyond the Bible Code.
Yes. Well, firstly, I'm a visual pattern recognizer, and I see patterns that are in the natural world, and I correlate them with other things.
Can you give us examples? Could you give us examples?
Yes. Like, for instance, I see units, mathematical units of growth that are found in the natural world. For instance, like the Fibonacci sequence, which goes 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. And so I see those patterns as basically when the next branch on a tree is going to grow. And what I do is I like to find these units that are in the natural world, and I like to correlate them with other things. And so what I did was I was able to find that this pattern exists in all living and even non-living things. So in that sense, I'm a visual pattern recognizer. And I also look to merge this natural unit of growth with finding strong evidence for a creator.
And have you found it?
I believe I did.
You said you believe you did. You didn't give me a definitive yes.
Yes.
Oh.
And I will get to that shortly.
So once again, where did your interest come into when it comes to the Bible, creation, and writing about the Bible Code?
Well, when I started to recognize these things, and I made the leap to finding strong evidence for a creator, that's when I realized that I had to write all this down in such a way that it could be explained to others so that other people can see this and witness it for themselves.
You claim to have found something or established something as the holy language, and what is that?
Yes. The holy language is a language that controls all things in the natural world.
Mm-hmm.
It controls all things in the cosmos. It's basically a language that it created everything and it controls everything. It's kind of like the Force in Star Wars. And this language, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
the basis of it is Hebrew.
Why Hebrew?
Well, I will get into it now because in order to explain that, I have to explain how I connected the mathematical units that are in the natural world.
All right, why don't we do
to
this?
linking it.
Why don't we do this? I've got to take a break, and I don't want to interrupt you once you start giving us this, why Hebrew was found to be the holy language. So we're going to take a break now, and when we come back on the other side of this break, Exonation, more with Anita Meyer. And if you'd like to find out more about Anita, her website is anitameyer1.wixsite.com/Anita-Meyer-books. Or you can find her on Facebook at facebook.com/Anita.CharlotteMeyer. We'll be back on the other side of this break in 2 minutes as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, you can always do that, X Zone Nation. I love hearing from each and every one of you. All you need to do is visit, or not even visit, all you need to do is send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. Anita and I will be back on the other side as we continue broadcasting around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
All right, Exonation, Anita Meyer is our special guest. We're talking to Anita about her book entitled Beyond the Bible Code. So, all right, Anita, before we went to the commercial break, you were telling us that Hebrew is the holy language. And how did you come to that conclusion?
Correct. Well, let me go back to explaining the mathematical unit that is found in the natural world.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it starts with the Fibonacci sequence, which goes 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. When you add the last two numbers together, you get the next number. And there's two numbers that are in the Fibonacci sequence, which are 144 and 233. And when you divide those numbers, you get the golden ratio, which is 1.618, or inversely, 0.618. So this is a universal law. It's a mathematical expression that's used to explain the mechanism behind form and patterns of growth. Now, this mathematical pattern is seen when the next branch on a tree is going to grow. It's seen in the human body, all animals and mammals, insects, cell division, DNA, the spiral pattern in hurricanes and tornadoes. It's seen in the stock market, and it's even seen in the life cycle of an atomic particle. When they smash the particles together at the CERN facility,
mm-hmm.
the Fermi lab, what that happens is when they smash the particles together, they spiral out, and that spiraling pattern is the same unit of growth. And even more amazing is that we see this unit of growth in the distance between the planets. So it's literally, basically, it's in everything. And so what I was looking for a common denominator, something that linked this mathematical unit to finding strong evidence for God's existence. And so what I did was I turned to the Bible,
mm-hmm.
but not just the ordinary Bible. I turned to the Hebrew Bible.
The Torah.
Yes, the Torah. And specifically in Genesis 1:1,
mm-hmm.
the very first verse and paragraph of the Torah is the Hebrew word Bereshith, which means beginning. And I looked at the very first letter of the Torah, and it's a Hebrew letter B, known as in Hebrew as a bet. And when I looked at that letter, I noticed that right away that there was, being a visual pattern recognizer,
mm-hmm.
I recognized that it had a unit of growth to it. If you look at the Hebrew letter B, you'll see that it has a little leg that sticks out to the right, and then it gets a little bit longer going to the left, and then it furls up even longer. So what I did to test this theory was I took a bendable wire and I bent it in the shape of that Hebrew letter, and I took another spiral and I spiraled it around that letter with the same exact units of growth that are found in the natural world. In other words, it started out small, gets a little bit bigger, and then it furrows out. And when I was looking at this one form, I realized, as I was holding it in my hand, the spiral form, so that I can get a three-dimensional view of it instead of seeing the letter on a flat surface, I started turning it around in my hand, looking at it, and I realized that when I looked at it a certain way, it was the Hebrew letter B, but when I turned it upside down, it turned into the Hebrew letter T, Tav. And when I turned it sideways, it turned into the Hebrew letter M, Mem. Another way, the Hebrew letter Gimel, G, S, Shin. And so what I realized was that this one spiral form that's formed from nature's law produces the complete Hebrew alphabet, consisting of 22 letters plus 5 final letters.
Why did you use the Torah?
Well, I used the Torah because I was brought up. I was brought up Jewish, and I went to Hebrew school, and I also went to public school.
Right. So what would have happened if you used the King James Bible?
No, it doesn't work for any of the English letters whatsoever.
Have you tried?
Yes. It only works for the Hebrew letters. There's no other writing in the entire world that produces its complete an entire alphabet from a single spiral form, which in turn is a product of nature's law.
So am I to understand that because Hebrew is the holy language, that all life started in Israel?
Well, that's what the Bible tells us. It tells us that we started out in a garden.
Yeah, but the Bible has also been proven to be wrong in many instances, and paleontology is telling us that we actually come from Africa.
Well, that's what they say, but, when you consider this, you might think otherwise.
But doesn't it depend on one's own belief how certain patterns can be manipulated to fit into certain areas where a pattern is being sought?
That's true. But in order for people to truly understand that, they have to go to my website or perhaps buy one of my books. You can see, or you can even go on my Facebook timeline and you can see what this spiral form pattern looks like.
Oh, okay. But what I'm saying is, isn't this based on perception? And could your own religious philosophical beliefs have tainted, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, but tainted the research value?
Yes, well, leaving that part out.
Why?
Even if you leave that part out, if you leave the part of religion out and tradition and everything that the Bible tells us, we still have this. We still have what I discovered with the Hebrew letters. So then the question remains is, once you realize this, and once you see that there's not only intelligent design in it, but you realize that there's divine design.
Where do you get the divine design? Where's the divine design fit in? Because what we're saying here is everybody knows that the book of Genesis was written by Moses. He was Jewish. So it only stands to reason that the Jewish alphabet would be found in the Torah.
Correct.
So what am I missing here?
Yes, it also tells us that the Torah was translated directly from the Creator.
How do we know that?
To Moses.
How do we know that?
The Bible tells us that.
But the Bible was written by men, not by God. And men lie. Men misinterpret. We're looking at a time in our evolution and our history where people were seeking answers, and they didn't have the ability to go to CERN. They didn't have the ability to go onto the internet to find out, what the real story was. We have to look at that part of history when this was happening to better understand. Right. Well, the linguists know, kind of backing up here to get to that question. Right. The linguists know
the Hebrew writing that is found in the Torah is called Asherit writing, and it's square block letters, and it is a mystery that writing came into being at Mount Sinai. It didn't exist prior to that. The style and design of that writing just came on into the time era at that time.
How do we know that?
Well, because the linguists know that this writing was found in a certain area, a certain part in the Middle East.
Okay. I mean, I don't think anybody is disputing the fact that Moses would have written something in Hebrew, and that Moses wrote the book of Genesis. And many people believe that a deity was the dictator of the book of Genesis. Nobody's disputing that. I think what my question is, how do we verify it? Because there are many people in this world who do not believe in God. There are many people in this world who have their own philosophical beliefs.
Well, that's where the discovery of my spiral form comes in handy.
Okay.
Because basically what it's saying is that this is a language that is produced from letters. Okay, it goes deeper into the biblical text, and not only just biblical text, but other ancient texts. Goes back to the book of Enoch. It goes to the book of Jubilees. All these ancient texts, and what it describes is a language that basically created all things. Like even when we read in Genesis, it said, "And God said," He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is a language that is based on sound and frequency that created all things.
Could we be putting way too much value and too much meaning into a simple book?
I don't believe so. I think that this is verification. I mean, it shows us, it has, basically, the Bible tells us in another way, it tells us that to see the Creator, we are to look to nature. And so that's how I got the inside clue to look toward to the natural world, where I see these mathematical units. And they're found in all things.
But isn't it true?
Math in itself is like a language.
But isn't it true we are actually a binary society made of 0 and 1s?
Well, yes, and the Hebrew is actually based on what's called gematria.
But once again, it's, I'm sure there are other people in the world, other linguistics that would say, well, no, it wasn't the Hebrews, that the Hebrew is not the holy language, and I'm sure that there are many other explanations for it as well. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, how do we know that everything in the Bible is true? Number one. Number two, I look at the Bible and I say, hey, it's one heck of a storybook. But there is no empirical evidence that the majority of events in the Bible ever took place. And we know for a fact that at the Council of Nicaea, that certain books were taken out. So how can we validate the authenticity of the Bible, or even the Torah for that matter? We can say the same thing about the Quran.
Yes, the authenticity of the Bible, which is the Torah, the basis of the Torah, is verified by the letters itself.
Okay, that's by the letters, but what about the actual events? How do we verify that?
That gets very deep, and that gets into my third book, which is the Bible Code. But if I could back up here just to give an insight depth, a little bit more of understanding in the linguistic area.
Well, we've got to take another break, so please stand by. X-Zone Nation, Anita Meyer is our special guest, and Anita and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
dreams are our personal gateways into infinite wisdom. Don't miss shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Corcoran's inspiring book, Shamanic Awakening Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles Sandra's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers and her initiations throughout the Americas and across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt. Sandy's knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private tarot readings, international journeys, a meditative CD, as well as her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate this earth walk, creating a deeper connection to yourself and all that is. Find this and more at Sandy's website, starwalkervisions.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
Exonation, Anita Meyer is our special guest, and Anita, I'm starting to see something here that basically, I guess, what you're trying to tell us is that you found the Rosetta Stone to the Bible.
Correct, in a sense, yes.
Okay. So, what has this decoding of the Bible? How is this going to change the world? How is it going to make it a better place? How is this going to affect people tomorrow when they go to work? How is it going to help feed the hungry? How is it going to cure the sick?
Well, basically, in a nutshell, it is verification of a creator. It's his signature.
Okay, there are millions of people, billions of people around the world who will agree with you without having to understand mathematics. They believe. They go to church. They pray. And?
Yes. And then there's also the scientific aspect of this, and there's a lot of understanding that goes in the background of all this.
Okay, what understanding?
As I was trying to explain with the linguistic aspect of it, is that linguists will tell us that the oldest writing that we have on the earth is the Sumerian.
Yes.
Sumerian writing, which is basically known as cuneiform. It's the little dashes that we found in clay and rock.
Yeah.
But basically, when we analyze that oldest said writing, what it is the cuneiform letters are basically the same as the Hebrew letters. The only difference is that they're turned sideways to the left. And the reason they did that is because it was a type of shorthand. It was easier to write the letters that way because the Hebrew letters are curved. So that's the basis of, basically it was based off the Hebrew. And we know, linguistics know, that scholars know that the Phoenician and the Hebrew language merged into the Arabic, Greek, Latin, and Roman by way of the Mediterranean.
All right, because of time restraints, I've got to start getting to the meat. What difference does it make in today's world, in today's society? How is it going to better the world? Or are we just going to look back and say, all right, you know what? You know, the scribes were right. The scriptures were right. Okay, so now what?
Well, not only is this verification of a creator.
But like I said, people already believe that. So what's the significance?
Yes. The significance is that there's so many applications to this. In a fourth book that I'm writing, what the letters are, they are actually sound frequency patterns. And this can be used in the medical field to heal.
Once again,
essentially these letters are produced and they're recorded in a sound converting software program.
But we already know. Okay. Wait a sec here. You're not telling us anything new. You're not. We're all aware of the significance of vibrations and music and sound frequencies in medicine. We know that. We already know that billions of people believe in God. Nobody's disputing that. So I'm having a hard time understanding.
Yes, this is a language that created all things. It continues to control all things. And it can be used to heal things.
All right. Have you seen proof of that?
And it can be applied to the medical field as well.
Have you seen proof of that?
Yes. That's what I was trying to explain.
Okay.
The letters are actually the name of the letters themselves. Like we have in the Hebrew alphabet, we have like the first three letters, Aleph, Bet, Gimel.
Okay. Once again.
Aleph is called Aleph because when you say Aleph in the sound graph, it comes out to the pattern of the Hebrew letter Aleph.
All right. Now, once again, let's get away from the Hebrew letters, please, because we've spent way too much time on this, and I've only got so much time in order to try and get this understood to my listeners. So I asked you if you had proof that these frequencies or these letters heal. What is the proof you have?
Well, it's being applied, but when you combine certain frequency sounds together and make certain words, this is known, it's also practiced in Kabbalah, that it can heal it can heal bones, it can heal cancer.
It can or it does. It can or it does. And can this be proven by medical research?
Well, it's in the forefront right now, and
so I guess the answer is no.
Well, no. There's a lot of things that are healed with frequencies. There's
but we're talking
kidney
about
stones. Kidney stones are destroyed with sound.
I understand that. But what we're talking about here is you are saying that certain word frequencies based on the Hebrew alphabet can cure things. And I would like to know what you know for a fact that they have cured. I'm not talking about ultrasounds. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about the Hebrew alphabet, when spoken in a certain combination that you know for a fact have healed things. And if so, what have they healed?
Well, that's just the thing, is to get the proof on this, which I'm working on, and it's in the forefront right now of science.
So as it stands right now, there is no proof.
Well,
yes or no?
No, there is not. There is no definite proof.
Okay, so that wasn't very hard. This is all I'm trying to get at. I'm just trying to get to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, I want to take the fat off the top of the cream.
Or maybe there is, and I just don't know.
So so would this mean that there are other people who are doing the same research that you're doing?
Quite possibly. I know that there are.
Okay. Do you communicate with these people to find out what their findings have been based on the research that you're doing and the methods that you're using?
Right now, it's just correlating with a sound program through a computer base.
Okay. So, your books have been out there. What is the feedback that people have found within your books? Are they giving you any ammunition to, fuel your theories?
Yeah, people are amazed. They are amazed. If you read my books and you see the patterns and you see the images, it's basically undeniable. You cannot say that.
But you see, I've got a problem because you're not definitive with your answers. You say basically it's undeniable. Why are you not definitive? Why don't you say it is undeniable, or it can cure, it can do this?
Well, because not everybody sees.
But this is your story. This is your story based on what you've done. And if anybody can say, yes, it is, yes, it is, yes, it is, it should be you. But if you're not sure of your own findings, how do you expect John Q. Public to be sure?
Oh, I am sure. I'm absolutely 100% sure in the Hebrew letters themselves.
Well, of course. They've been around for thousands of years. So once again, how can all this, right? I understand the vibrational aspect. I understand the musical aspect. Like I said, there are billions of people around the world who go to church or pray at home at night to a God that they've never seen because they believe. And belief, in my opinion, is the strongest power in the universe. And we all know that Moses, who is Jewish, wrote the book of Genesis. Based on your research into this, and I must say it is interesting, topic, how many gods are there?
Only one God.
Then why is it in the book of Genesis he said, and let us create man in our image, our likeness?
He was talking to the angels.
Doesn't say that in the Bible.
No, well, and it doesn't, but you have to go into, fully understand that, you have to go into the oral Torah and look for coordinates in other religious texts.
No disrespect to the Torah. How do we know the Torah is right? It's based on belief, isn't it?
Well, we can say the same thing about evolution.
You're right. I'm not disputing that.
You
see, I'm the kind of guy who likes to see proof.
Well, the thing is that the Hebrew letters, again, which is based on that, is basically it's God's way of saying that's his signature. And by his signature is saying that that's his word. The word that he translated directly from him to Moses.
But
as it said in the Bible, between the two cherubim in the tabernacle and the Holy of Holies.
But once again, as it says in the Bible, but there is no empirical evidence that ever happened.
No, but then one has to question, well, then where did the Hebrew letters come into existence, and why is there intelligent design to them?
You can
and
say
why
that
does it correlate with the natural world?
You can say that about
and
every
beyond,
other.
even into the cosmos.
You can say that about everything. What if? But isn't society owed empirical proof instead of theories, instead of beliefs. You know, we're not sheep anymore. We don't need shepherds. We take responsibility for our own actions, or we should anyway. So, as much as I think the Bible is the greatest story, the greatest book that has ever been written, and that each and every religious philosophy out there had its purpose, here we are in the year 2017, and we have to, or I have to ask myself, why is this important? Why do we need to know? Like, you know, I hate to say it, but when you look at the events in the Bible, I don't know why anybody would praise God, because he was a mean guy. You know, Sodom and Gomorrah killed everybody, killed the Egyptians who were his children as well in the Red Sea, flooded the earth, killed all the animals except two, a male and female, killed all the humans except a family. You know, in today's society, if God was here and he did that, he'd be up on charges. So, you know, do we really want to throw that much into a story? Or do we want to say, maybe it's just a story. Maybe there's lessons. Maybe everything in the Bible or in the other religious books are nothing else but parables, lessons to live by.
A lot of times when as your understanding allows you to understand, there is a deeper understanding to why God did all the things that you just mentioned. It's a war of principalities.
You have to go
back to the beginning to understand.
Well,
you have to read all the text.
Yeah, but once again, you know, and we're coming to another commercial break here for our final segment. But once again, actions speak louder than words. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a godfather. One thing I would never, ever, 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 ever do is harm a hair on any of my children's heads. And I would never harm a hair on anyone else's head. Mind you, I'm just a mortal. I'm not a god. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401 0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Anita Meyer is our guest. And Anita, if something is coded and you've decoded it, what is the message, and how can the message help us to make this a better world?
Okay. We're talking about the Bible code, correct?
Yep.
Well, basically, the Bible code is based on the same thing. It's proof of a creator. It's showing that he put specific codes in there to venerate proof and existence of him. For example, there's a code that can be found in Genesis. It's the Genesis where it talks about the actual text that speaks about planting a garden. In the garden, which talks about the Garden of Eden. And it says, and the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he formed out of the ground. And he and everything that was pleasant to sight for food was good to eat. And so just in that verse there, in the Hebrew, there are 26, I do believe, 26 words consisting of, I think it's like 80-something letters. And they're pinpointed in this small portion of the Torah, and it appears only in this particular text and cannot be found elsewhere. And so we have, like we find the word for wheat, it's called Hida, and we find them by equidistant letter skips of 5. The vine, we have grape, chestnut, myrtle, date palms, bramble, pine tree. We find all these plants that are in that section. So basically and they're found exactly in the story that talks about it. So it's showing again that there's intelligent design. And so the code can't be used to predict the future, but more it's a proof to reveal that there is a creator that knows the beginning to the end.
Okay, You did say pine trees in there, right?
Yeah,
There's no pine
I
trees
did.
in Israel.
Pine trees, pistachios, fig tree, willow tree, pomegranate, aloes, oak.
I must admit, I did not know there were pine trees in Israel. So
Yes, there are.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Okay, so we understand the Garden of Eden. Okay, no, I'm not disputing that. It says so in the Bible. So was Adam based on the code that you have, Adam and Eve, the first two people that were created?
That's what the text says.
What about Lilith?
Well, there are so many aspects on that, but basically it is mentioned in oral Torah.
Yeah.
And she was not a created being. She was more like a spirit being.
Okay. So if it was Adam and Eve who had Cain and Abel, right?
Mm-hmm. And then after that, Seth.
Okay. And was it Cain who killed Abel or Abel who killed Cain? I think it's Cain that killed Abel.
It was Cain that killed Abel.
Okay, so right now, if my memory serves me correct, we have Adam and Eve, Cain and Seth that are alive, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So why does it say in the Bible that Cain crossed the mountains, he crossed the desert to where he slept with his wife?
Mm-hmm.
Where did these people come from?
That was his sister. The book does not mention the daughters. It only mentions the male.
Why?
But if you read
Why?
the oral Torah,
Why is that? Why doesn't it
you
mention
will
the
see
females?
that there were daughters.
Oh, there must have been either that or that there was a lot of incest going on. So why weren't the daughters mentioned?
Well, that's a good question, because maybe it went by the lineage of the male. I don't know, but it is mentioned in oral Torah. The oral Torah mentions a lot of things that the Bible, that the Torah does not. Basically, oral Torah was not written down until 2,000 years ago, but oral Torah seeks to, it did come down with Moses from Sinai as well, along with the Torah, but it was oral, of course, and what it does is it seeks to explain the science behind the Torah. In other words, in the Torah, it tells us that a baby male has to be circumcised, but it doesn't give us any description or tell us how to do this. And so in order to know that, we have to turn to the oral Torah, which gives us the instructions for how to do that. And a lot of people don't know this. That's why it's important to know the full story of reading all the texts, that even the ones that aren't in the Bible, to know and compare coordinates and match things up so that they can understand the full story.
But once again, what difference does it make in the world that we live in now?
It makes a difference because then this way we can understand our existence here. We can understand our purpose here. What are we doing here?
Well,
the full story, the whole saga.
If you believe in creationism,
why evil things happen.
If you believe in creationism, yeah.
Well, that's true. Whether you believe it or not, this, according to the text, is the history of mankind. This is the true story, according to the text.
Or is this another marketing ploy to justify the significance of one religious culture over another?
Well, not really. So, all cultures, people tend to segregate them, but really they are all an anthology, which means that they're all based off of one principal religion. They all basically have the same kind of stories.
Then why
traditions in one aspect or another.
Then why are there so many religions if we all came from one?
Well, because after the Tower of Babel, we were all separated. We all spoke different languages, and we went to different parts of the earth.
But way back then, they thought the Earth was flat.
Well, not really, because if you read the Bible, it basically tells you in so many ways. Job says the Earth is round and it floats by itself. They knew the Earth was round.
And
thousands of years ago, before they even came up in relatively modern times, maybe a couple hundred years ago, that the Earth was flat.
I've got about 3 minutes left. How do you think that your research is going to change the world?
Well, there was a prophecy, and it's found in Zephaniah, and it says that the Lord will restore this pure language. When all people come to an understanding of Him, come back to the Lord, and understand Him, He will restore this pure language.
Now, when you say the Lord, are you talking about God or are you talking about Jesus?
Well, both. He was the incarnate. He was the Messiah.
That's one way of looking at it. You're right. But once again, not everybody shares that belief. And wouldn't you say that religion is based on one's personal belief?
Well, this is the thing, is that people don't know. In this modern era, people have not studied fully all the scriptures, all the ancient texts. And so that's why I write my books, so that I can explain all this, so that I can go back into the ancient texts, and so I can put the full picture together for people to understand.
Put your picture, your interpretation, and present it to people.
My interpretation based on the ancient texts. I truly make nothing of my own up.
I'm not saying you do, but once again, religion and philosophy are based on the believers. And any religion and any philosophy can be made to fit either a square hole or a round peg.
That's true. And where we are in this society here, we've lost that. We have been dumbed down in such a way that we have disconnected. We are disconnected from the truth. Some people say that religion is the opium of the mass, and they can say that whatever they want. That's their opinion.
Right.
But there's a story here. There is a story, that encapsulates the truth, and so that we can get a better idea. Just like the story of Star Wars, how that whole saga, how it goes, back, and it gives you, it tells you about the rebellion and all that, and that's kind of like our story here.
Listen, we've got to say so long for tonight. Exo Nation Anita Meyer is our special guest this hour. Do I believe her? No. You want to believe in God, you believe in God. If you want to believe in Moses, you believe in Moses. If you want to believe that Star Wars is a representation of the ancient Bible, go ahead. It's your right. But the other people have the right to believe in what they want to believe. And if God would have written the Bible and people could prove to me that God existed, maybe I'd believe them too. Just like I'd love to see an alien in order so I can say, I believe. Or that I see a Bigfoot to say, I believe. But I believe I have to take my news break. I'll be back on the other side. Don't go away.